What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, back for another Amazon Q&A, and this time we've got a bunch of questions about merch, about FBA, about KDP, and we've also got a couple of Walmart questions. So I'm going to cover all that and a heck of a lot more, and I'm super fired up for this video. I hope you're fired up too. My cat was actually fired up, and she was in the room ready to rock and roll, but she left. Either way, we're going to do this. All right, so we got the first question from Carrie Ann. Carrie Ann says, thank you so much for this, Liz. We have a goal to do one private label product this year. I know this likely varies, but for the time you find a product to getting it up on Amazon, would that be about 2 to 3 months for a beginner? Is that a reasonable amount of time? I'm finding a lot of seasonal items and I worry about missing the window, not sure how much time to plan in order to get reviews and for it to get traction. Thoughts? So my advice to you, Carrie Ann, is as a beginner, I would not start with the seasonal product. However, seasonal products do look very delicious to most beginners, and a lot of beginners, for that very reason, jump into a seasonal product. Now, the problem with seasonal products is you can never really tell how well it takes off, and in order to gain the traction to rank well for a product on Amazon, it takes a lot of work and effort. So I wouldn't devote that much time and energy to rank that seasonal product, only to have you run out or not calculate the right amount of units that you need. And then it's a never-ending battle to stay on top. So you'll never really know how much you need until you gain that experience and you have that additional cash in your pocket to be able to get extra seasonal units. Now, for that very reason, I would stick to evergreen products, and those are products that sell year-round no matter what. So I would absolutely 100% go with an evergreen product as a brand new person, and I would take a look at the video that I did on if FBA is dead to be able to figure out how much money I truly do need to launch an FBA product. Now, the second question that you had here is how long before you start to gain traction. If you do launch an FBA evergreen product, then it will take about 2 to 3 months from the actual selection process to the sourcing to getting it on the boat over to the USA. And it might potentially take longer for the simple fact that right now, because of all the customs holdup and COVID, containers and shit is just taking a heck of a lot longer to get here. It's also a lot more expensive. So make sure you pay close attention to that. Make sure you work very closely with your freight forwarder to understand the true cost of getting that product imported from China. And that should be more than enough to get you enough reviews and enough traction. But again, always start with the evergreen. That way you have the reviews there all the time and that thing is selling year round. But great question either way. Good luck with that. Here we got a great question from Josh. Josh says, I wouldn't buy an account from anyone. I did that back in 2018 and got banned out of nowhere a couple months in. I still can't get approved. I think because I'm not in the US, it's harder. I do well on Redbubble, so I'll use that. So Josh is referring to the video that I did on if you keep getting rejected for merch. I did notice that there was quite a few sellers on Fiverr that were selling accounts that they set up and gave over to you. Now, one of the big reasons why they could be getting banned is because it shows multiple logins from different IPs. And then Minx asks, do I have to change my IP address if I'm going to reapply for MBA? The answer to that is yes. You should change your IP address. You should change the Amazon account that you try and set it up for. So for example, if last time you used minx@gmail.com and you used your standard everyday IP address, this time around you should use something else at gmail.com and a totally different IP address. Now, the reason that you might not be getting accepted if you're outside of the US is when they ask for address, you should be supplying a US address. So if you don't have one, there are a lot of services in the USA that do provide you an address in the USA. If you have that, and then if you have a bank account like with Payoneer or all the other services available out there, that will up the chances that you get approved for merch. So good luck, Josh, and good luck, Minx. I hope you guys get those accounts. Okay, so the next one from AM is more or less a suggestion, and I was just wanting to know everybody's thoughts out there if they would like to see or hear more about this. And AM says that most of the videos that I have are for sellers with years of experience. However, they are brand new and they would like a video for real beginners, KDP sellers, about how to start your account if you had a small budget and no experience in terms of ads, what niche you would choose to minimize the risks, how many books to start with, what are the must-have tools, what are the free tools to check different keywords, spy, get inspired, time machine, etc. And in a word, a good strategy for a starter. So everybody out there, let me know in the comments below if you guys would like to see that too. The only reason I don't create it is because I do know a bunch of you are advanced, but if you want a start from scratch series, that is perfectly fine. And remember, you're never too big to listen to anybody talk. I learn things from brand new people all the time. So I like to listen to people on a variety of topics that are at the lowest level of learning learning, because I sometimes see that I have overlooked something that is incredibly important yet very simple, and that's why I like to listen to them. So I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post them below. Next up, we have Luca that says, thanks Liz, what is the most accurate research tool for Amazon as far as product research? All right, so this is a fantastic question, and while you guys know I am a huge fan of Helium 10 and a lot of the tools that they produce, the absolute best tool for product research, hands down, is not by Helium 10, although Helium 10 does have a very good tool to use for product research. The absolute best tool for product research, hands down, is Market Intelligence's Product Discovery. And if you're interested to learn why I think that, I will give you a brief summation here in this video, but I can also do a video if you're interested in that. Just post below. But the basic gist of why it's the absolute best tool is it has a couple different advanced filters that Helium 10 does not, that I find absolutely help me crush it, specifically if I'm looking for seasonal products, as we discussed in an earlier question. So for an advanced seller, the seasonality of what it shows is much better, as well as for a noob that's looking for products and or inspiration that are all seasonal. And that really comes in handy when you think about it in terms of use for KDP or something of that nature. But again, Market Intelligence has much better filters in the advanced features than Helium 10, and that's why it is my #1 go-to product research tool. And that's why I basically still have a Market Intelligence subscription. If not, I would 100% rely on Helium 10 because I absolutely love it. But Market Intelligence, hands down, is the best product research tool out there. And again, I'm affiliates for both. I think there's links down here. I don't really ask you guys to click on them that much, but if you are going to sign up for them, then I do appreciate you signing up on that link. But I'm also a user and I pay for both subscriptions. So that goes to show you that I am a believer in both products, but there are certain elements that I like on each of those products and why I use them. All right, so next up is a question from Diro. And Diro says, I don't understand a way when it comes to advertising some of my selling books, I get disappointed. Am I doing ads in the wrong keyword strategy or something else? Because some of my competitor books have bestseller badge, and when I tap the keyword, they pop up first. The crazy thing about this book, like I said, is it's best-selling one, but without one-day review. I started with 0.21 on the bid and a lot of impressions. CTR is good, but no sales. So Diro, let's talk about this. Your competitors could be launching with an email list and or they could be using Facebook ads. So there's a lot of different reasons why they could have that bestseller badge. They could also be using pay-per-click and they could be bidding a lot more than you, therefore getting a lot more impressions. Now, the other thing that I see wrong with your ads, which I think a lot of people will have this problem. I had this problem on one of the tests that I did in the videos that I did way back then when I first tried KDP advertising, and that is you are starting with a very low bid amount, which is 21 cents, which is fine. There's a lot of people that recommend that, and I would probably recommend that too for a beginner with a very little budget. However, the fact that you're getting a lot of impressions and you have a very good CTR, which is 2.5, is telling me you're getting a heck of a lot of people to look at your book, but the problem is they aren't buying. So the reason they aren't buying is for two different reasons. Obviously, your cover is very good because you do have a high CTR, but once they jump in there and they see the first pages, they're not very impressed with what you have to offer, or the price is just too high. It's those two things that are the only things that are stopping you from gaining any sales. So I would look to vary those things up. What I might try first is I might try to lower the price, see if you can potentially get some more sales or any sales for that matter. And then if that doesn't work, then I would completely change the first few pages of your future books to see if you get any sales on any future books. But other than that, those are the two big reasons why you are not getting any sales at all. So hopefully that helps, Diro. Let's go to the next question, which is from Anne. Anne says, racking my brain on how to get ads to be profitable and I was about to turn them off. Selling 100 books a month isn't worth it for the money if I can sell 10 organically and at least make $10. I've got a 9 to 5 star book that gets tons of hits, but keywords are all over the place and I'm never very far past break even. I even have low bid ads on certain genres and it works okay. Never thought to split out keywords into finding better fitting bids. I've been totally flunking on the bid strategy part. Awesome. So obviously that was just a comment. I thought it was actually a question, but let's talk about this. If you are putting books out there that are doing well organically, then by all means go with it. But I would still test out some ads on them. And that's for the simple reason that if you're getting organic sales, then you probably will get sales with PPC. Now, the way to break them up, I would take a look at that second video that I talked about. I tried advertising and here's what happened. And now there's very soon a third one to come out on the brand new strategy that I'm launching and I'm testing as I'm constantly doing that. But the big thing about this is you have to understand what the end game is. So you kind of have to have an overall plan and understand what the end game. If the end game is to rank better organically, therefore get more sales, then it's very worthwhile to break even on ads for a while and then allow that to run and then collect organic sales, if that's your game plan. If your game plan is just to straight up make money, then I would just literally mass produce books if you have a pretty good organic ranking strategy and not ever worry about ads. So ultimately decide what your game plan is and then take it from there. There is a chance that you might decide you never want to run ads because you can rank already pretty well with your keyword strategy and or your titles and your book covers and all that good stuff. But other than that, fantastic question, Ann. So let's go to the next one. This is Melissa. She says, I'm curious why a new campaign versus negative targeting the keywords you don't want in this campaign. Thanks. So Melissa is referring to, again, my keyword strategy that I used in the last campaign for my pug book. And so here is why you start a brand new campaign versus negative targeting. If you allowed too much time to pass, your ads could be dead in the water. So what usually happens with Amazon is brand new campaigns, Amazon treats them as if they're on a honeymoon with them, right? So think about when you were on your honeymoon, or maybe not you, but maybe you saw somebody else on their honeymoon. They're kissing, they're hugging, they're loving each other a heck of a lot. They're giving each other a lot of attention. What happens a year later? It's not the same, right? Same thing on Amazon. When you put out a campaign at first, Amazon is hot and heavy with you as if you're on your honeymoon. As time wears on, so does the love affair and so does the amount of impressions it sends to you. So as soon as you can figure out a keyword is smashing it for you and a keyword is absolutely crushing it, if you put that keyword out on its own in a campaign with other winning keywords, guess what Amazon's gonna do? They're gonna send the love because they're gonna realize, wow, I've got a perfect 10 here. I wanna make sure I keep her happy. I wanna make sure I do everything for her in my power to have her happy from now until the end of time. She's doing everything I want. We're hot and heavy. This is the way it's got to be. If you leave it in the old campaign, sure, you'll still get some impressions, you'll still get some clicks, it might still do all right, but if you already know the keyword is smashing it, why not start with a hot and heavy romance, especially the world's biggest e-commerce site? That's why you do it. You don't treat it like a side chick, you treat it like a main chick. So hopefully that helps you, Melissa. All right, and the last two comments that I actually have are not really comments, but they are comments. And it's all about what I do on the live YouTube lives that I do every single week, where I share with you what I'm reselling and how I'm making money in 2021 as a side hustle. And all it's about is how I've managed to grab almost a dozen PS5s, as well as students have grabbed dozens and dozens of them by using a secret link that I described or that I used in a previous live. People are still to this day grabbing these PS5s for themselves in order to use, and it's easy cop with these magic links. Again, these links are available on a lot of my YouTube lives where I do these things live and I show you guys how to be able to pick up products to buy low and then sell high. And again, it's a fantastic side hustle and you should definitely look at it in 2021 if you're looking to put some extra money in your pocket. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you learned a lot about Amazon. Hopefully you learned a lot about FBA and merch and all the other things that I talk about. And again, put your questions and comments below. I always personally answer them, and I'll see you in the next video.